It's fair to say that Johnny Knoxville took a while to find his niche. The Daredevil was nearly 30 when he first fronted the adrenaline-charged, injury-prone franchise that would launch him to fame. These days, he's staying a bit quieter. Here's what happened to Johnny Knoxville. Johnny Knoxville has always been a relatively private man when it comes to his romantic life, but the star had no choice but to watch details of one particular romance splash all over the tabloids in 2020. His former co-star from The Dukes of Hazzard, Jessica Simpson, was responsible. The singer-actress revealed in her autobiography Open Book that she'd had a, quote, emotional affair with the Jackass creator in the mid-2000s. The only problem was that both parties were married at the time. Simpson to 98 Degrees vocalist Nick Lachey, and Knoxville to Melanie Lynn Cates. In her book, Simpson confessed, "It was like Johnny and I were prison pen pals. Two people who wanted so much to be with each other, but were kept apart." Simpson insists that her relationship with Knoxville never turned physical, but that they continued to stay in touch once their remake of the hit TV show stopped shooting. Simpson would go on to split with her husband in 2005, while in 2007, Knoxville headed for the divorce courts too. In 2018, Johnny Knoxville delivered a love letter to New Jersey's most notorious theme park as the star and producer of big screen comedy Action Point. And as you'd expect from a movie about health and safety's worst nightmare, the actor ended up hurting himself just as much as he did in his Jackass heyday. In fact, it's a miracle Knoxville finished the shoot in one piece, following a catalog of stunts that caused wince-inducing injuries. He somehow managed to blow his left eye right out of its socket following an Alpine slide-assisted concussion. He also ended up with a bald spot the size of a 50-cent coin after scalping himself on the barn doors that he was flung toward via catapult. And he both busted his knee and broke his hand after falling from a tree and then a shed in one fell swoop.
I got a concussion and lost teeth in one incident.
Throw in some whiplash, a torn meniscus, and some lost teeth, and you can believe Knoxville when he told Entertainment Weekly, "I definitely suffered the most injuries on one film." Sadly for Knoxville, all the pain wasn't exactly worth it. Action Point took in just $5.1 million on a budget almost 4 times that amount, while its Rotten Tomatoes rating stands at a dismal 15%. Johnny Knoxville has admired the legendary daredevil Evel Knievel since childhood.
Just in my life, just as far as, I guess, influence, my father, Hunter S. Thompson, and Evel.
In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Knoxville also had this to say about the similarities he and Knievel share. "I think we're hovering right somewhere in between bravery and stupidity, possibly more on the stupidity side." In 2015, the Jackass star tried to convince everyone else of Knievel's virtues by producing a feature-length documentary about his boyhood hero called Being Evil. Being Evil shone the spotlight on several of the stuntman's high-profile feats, both the awe-inspiring successes and the near-fatal disasters, as well as the man behind the mask. Sadly, co-producer Knoxville didn't exactly make a good impression on Knievel the one time the pair shared the same space. Knoxville was on stage at the ESPN Awards with the rest of his Jackass crew when the likes of Chris Pontius and Wee Man began causing havoc. He explained, "The whole time I'm trying to talk about my friend Matt Hoffman's life and what he's meant to everyone, another friend of ours is trying to puke on the stage." It was the first opportunity Knoxville had to meet his boyhood hero and make a good impression on him. But because his friends were acting so inappropriately, Knoxville missed his shot. He went on to add that Knievel was, quote, very upset with the way his friends were acting. Johnny Knoxville had a particularly difficult period in the late 2010s when he lost both of his parents within the space of 12 months. The star's former Bible school teacher mother passed away first in November 2017. Sadly, Knoxville's father, Phil, died almost a year to the day after his mom. Knoxville posted a touching tribute to his dad on his Instagram account, writing, "He was hilariously impatient and grumpily kind. He was a loyal friend and not afraid to stretch an already exciting and legitimate truth into infinity." Indeed, it turns out that the star may well have inherited his madcap personality from his father, who would regularly play the prankster at the family tire company he ran in the city of Knoxville. In the same Instagram post dedicated to his dad, Knoxville recalled, "He made them X-Lax milkshakes, sent letters from the VD clinic to their homes, staged gunfights at Christmas parties between two men shooting blank cartridges at one another. The list goes on and on." Johnny Knoxville is one of the last Hollywood stars you'd envision as a man of the cloth. Yet the Jackass star ended up playing religious figures in 2 films within a year. Firstly, he starred as an overzealous priest prone to spouting about the hellish fate that awaits anyone who engages in premarital sex in Half Magic. The 2018 comedy was the directorial debut of Heather Graham, who also took the leading role as a Hollywood assistant trying to assert her place in a chauvinistic industry. Secondly, Knoxville ventured into more nightmarish territory as a pastor in the 2019 devilish horror We Summon the Darkness. The comedian played John Henry Butler, the leader of a satanic church named Daughters of the Dawn that sets their murderous sights on 3 heavy metal fans. Knoxville hasn't spoken much about his own spiritual beliefs. However, in a 2010 interview with Vanity Fair to promote the 3rd Jackass movie, the actor was asked whether all his self-inflicted suffering has brought him closer to God. He replied, "Suffering will get you great footage. I don't know about closer to God, although there have been times when I've suffered to the point where I think I might be about to meet him." Ready to feel old? The wild man of early 21st century MTV, renowned for deliberately injuring himself in ridiculous stunts, is now a fully paid-up member of the Silver Fox Club. Yes, while self-isolating during the coronavirus outbreak of 2020, Johnny Knoxville surprised fans by unveiling a new gray-haired look on his Instagram account. And it turns out that the Jackass star has been hiding his true colors ever since he shot to fame on the death-defying franchise. He revealed to his millions of followers, "Don't tell anyone, but I'm no longer a natural brunette. I haven't been for over 20 years, so today I decided to cut my hair down to the roots to match my quarantine beard." Reaction to Knoxville's new mature look was overwhelmingly positive, and the star himself seemed happy with his new image, adding, "I should start a challenge, but I don't want to call anyone out. Hugs to everybody." However, Knoxville wasn't the first famous male to embrace their grayness in 2020. None other than Rocky Balboa himself, Sylvester Stallone, was also praised for showing off his natural hair color in an Instagram post a few months earlier. Johnny Knoxville proved he could play it straight in 2016 when he portrayed the King's bodyguard and friend, Sonny West, in the biopic Elvis and Nixon. The Jackass star joined Kevin Spacey and Michael Shannon in the movie based on Presley's White House meeting with the president at the turn of the 1970s.
Elvis just wakes up one day, decides he wants to go to the White House to get a federal badge to fight narcotics.
And Knoxville did his research to make sure his performance was as true to life as possible. The actor picked the brain of Jerry Schilling, another member of the Memphis Mafia who is tasked with protecting and accompanying the musical icon whenever necessary. While promoting the movie, the actor told Uproxx, "I watched as much footage as I could, and I read up a lot about Elvis, and I sat down with Jerry Schilling to talk about what happened that day and what happened before and after those days. It was invaluable information I was getting, and I couldn't believe it was happening." West wasn't the first real person that Knoxville had depicted on the big screen. In 2004, he starred in Grand Theft Parsons as Phil Kaufman. The music producer and tour manager famously stole Graham Parsons' dead body before burning it in the Joshua Tree National Park to fulfill a pact the pair had previously made. So it appears as though being deliberately shot in the abdomen, hit by a tidal wave, and launched into the air from a makeshift rocket can be pretty lucrative. According to Celebrity Net Worth, Johnny Knoxville has a net worth of $75 million. And no doubt much of his fortune has come from the Jackass franchise he made his name with. Indeed, as the co-creator of the hit prank show, Knoxville will certainly have earned more than his fellow daredevils through residual payments over the years. He's also topped up his earnings with reportedly well-paid film roles in the likes of Walking Tall and The Dukes of Hazzard. And the founding of not just one, but 2 production companies won't have harmed his bank balance either. Despite his overgrown man-child persona, Knoxville still seems to have a strong grasp of the property market too. In 2008, he sold his Hollywood Hills home for $1.816 million. That's nearly double what he paid for it 9 years earlier at $943,500. Of course, his divorce from first wife Melanie Lynn Cates soon after stung him financially. Yet the fact that Knoxville's now getting ever closer to the 9-figure mark suggests he's more shrewd than he looks. Okay, so Action Point had proven that Johnny Knoxville could still take a beating in the name of entertainment. But still, few expected a man approaching the Big 5-0 to fully submit himself to the even more painful world of Jackass once again. Yet in 2019, Paramount Studios revealed that Knoxville and the rest of his gluttons for punishment would once again be putting themselves through all kinds of madcap stunts for a fourth big-screen installment of the franchise. Jackass 4 was later confirmed to hit cinemas in March 2021 before the coronavirus forced Paramount to push back its premiere by 6 months. And the studio will no doubt be hoping for similar box office receipts to its 3 predecessors, which grossed a combined total of approximately $336 million. The Jackass team that's reunited for its long-awaited fourth big-screen adventure may be significantly older, but they don't appear to be much wiser. Indeed, any fans concerned that the crew might hold back now that they're all firmly in middle age were soon placated by the fact that Johnny Knoxville and his co-star Steve-O were hospitalized just 2 days into the shoot, and a weighty musical instrument was to blame. In December 2020, the pain-baiting pair were forced to seek medical treatment after jumping onto a treadmill, which was moving full speed, while carrying tubas. But that wasn't Jackass 4's only major setback. Bam Margera, the man who'd revealed the news of the accident on his website, later implored fans to boycott the movie after discovering that his unique talents were no longer required. In a series of troubling Instagram videos, which have since been deleted, the skateboarder claimed that he'd been omitted from the franchise due to his off-screen behavior. Margera was particularly angry at the franchise's leading man, claiming that it was Knoxville who kicked him off Jackass and stole his ideas. Shortly after, TMZ confirmed that Margera had indeed been fired, having breached the contract which stated he must take regular drug tests, seek psychological help, and maintain his sobriety. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite celebs are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.